Hello. Today, instead of doing most probably boring speed coloring, maybe not even boring, but not so useful for many of you, I decided to make a small little picture pad with some useful tips for you, especially for the beginners. I think for pros, it will not be something something new, but for newbies, for those who just begin with coloring, I can give you tips how to make your illustrations more vibrant, more alive, let's say, and interesting for the eye. So first of all, before coloring, you have to make sure that all your pencils are sharp. For example, like this one. I know that sometimes we are too bored or too annoyed of doing that, but believe me, this is crucial part. This is very important to have sharp pencils. Then you can control them better, you can control intensity, you can control the pressure much easier. So please make sure your pencils are well sharp. So, and then after that, we have to find the illustration we want to color, and we have to first of all try to imagine your illustration in colors, how it will look like. Would you like to make it contrast? Would you like to make it colorful and vibrant, or rather pastel, rather in such bright light colors? It's totally up to you, but approach will be different. So in case you like, as I do, vibrant colors and contrast illustrations, you have to make sure you first of all you define the light and shadow. This is very important. So you have to define where is the light source in your illustration. For example, in my case, light source is this lantern. So most probably lantern has a bright yellow color, so I will just fill it with the yellow color, not too strong, just probably noticeable, just to make sure that I will not forget where it is and how far it shines. Most probably it's very strong lantern, it has strong power, so the light will be also very well spread around. And here as well. So first thing, we have to define the brightest color light sources. In our case it's lantern, and we have to define what can reflect this light. As we know, snow is made of small snowflakes, and snowflakes, what is snowflakes? It is iced water. So iced water is also reflecting light very well. So we can also be sure that snow reflects lantern light. And we have to mark the light just where it might be reachable. Why we don't make light here? Because the house has a curved shape and light will reach just one side. Another side, unfortunately, it will not reach as long as there is no another lantern on this side or moon. But as we see, moon is also at the same side as the lantern, and it's also a bit cloudy rather, so it's hidden behind the clouds, so it will also not bring too much light for this picture. And the only one source is this lantern. Actually, it could be also light in the windows. Now let's assume there is also light shining in the windows. Somebody is preparing Christmas dinner there. Yes. Then we have to define the darkest spots. Darkest spots will be, of course, sky. It will be sky, but I will not mark it because it's pretty much clear, isn't it? Then it will be an another side of the tree, because the light is not reaching the Christmas tree behind. So there it will be also dark as well. But as long as we cannot see that, we should not mark it. But what we can do, we can mark it here between the layers of branches. Between branches it will be also dark. Why I'm doing that? Because sometimes, and it's also my mistake, we start with dark colors, or we use them faster than we should. So we just fill tree with green, for example, or whatever color we want, and then right away we use darker just to define it. And then the illustration can become too dark, and then we take eraser and yeah, all of the story. So it's better to define it from the beginning where will be the darkest. So we will keep them till the end, and we will not start from the dark. It will be also dark in here, most probably the right side of the house will be also dark. Yeah, but just a little bit, because there is a light, so also illuminate it around. Yes, just like that. And also light illuminates light. So we have to define where this reflection will be. Okay. And also here, I took just a random gray colored pencil for this. As you know, there are some coloring books, the grayscale, where this work is already made for us. But as for me, it's a bit cheated because I think it's more fun when you can think about it by yourself and decide where is the light and how it will be positioned and where is the dark side. So, like that. Then we have to think also about reflections. Why it's so important? Because it brings life to the picture. As we know, some textures reflect light and color are better than others. For example, glass, metal, ice, water will reflect light much better than, for example, wood or stone or I don't know, ground or some leaves or like materials, fabrics. So we have to define where we have textures which reflect very well. A part of snow, you might say it can be also stone, so we can also add a little bit here, like just a little bit, because as we said, stone does not reflect that strong as, for example, snow. Yes. Also, Christmas tree is in this case illuminated by light. What color has Christmas tree? It has green color. So most probably this illuminated part of the Christmas tree, which we have in here, will also be reflected on the ice, on the snow layer of the house. But I guess house is quite wide and long. I don't think the reflection from Christmas tree will reach front part. Most probably it will be somewhere behind. So we will not point at it, but just keep in mind that it's also important. It's also something what makes a huge difference. But we also know that behind our scene is a nice, beautiful, starry sky. And sky is blue. Sky is dark blue, let's say. Even though it's not always like that, sometimes it's gray, and actually it is not like that. But that's how we imagine, that's how we color. We usually not color sky gray or black or green, whatever, even though it can be really like that. We could see it like that. But we rather color it in blue color. So you can also think that Christmas tree, especially snow on the tree, if there is any, could also reflect the sky. Yes, especially if Christmas tree is illuminated also by the moon, it will have a nice shimmery light. Shimmer is no light. And it will also reflect blue night sky. In reality, it's not so noticeable. Most probably we will not see that strong reflection of the sky on objects, on trees or whatever. Most probably we will see just the moon or light. But we can illustrate it and it will bring life to our pictures. Let's say also another example. This lantern is on the candy can. It's hangs on the candy can. Yeah, the candy can is red color. That's how it usually is. And we can just assume this one is also like that. So it is. We added some red color, then we can of course add some more shape, volume, but for now it's good. Candy can is also a reflecting light, of course. Yes, we should not forget. And because it's made out of sugar and it's candy, so it's reflecting light very well. It's almost like an ice. So we should not forget about it, and we can also add some reflection. But another part of it, which should be dark, we can also add a little bit to give a bit more volume. But it is red, and red is vibrant color, and especially when it's illuminated, it also reflects on other objects quite easily, especially on those which are capable to reflect it. So most probably this candy can will reflect also on the illuminated candy can will reflect on the snow, which covering this beautiful house. So we can also add a bit nuance here. This is called nuance. Just a little bit. This is even, I think, too much. Just as the small tip, like, look, I'm here. Yes, I can make sure the object which further is also darker. And in order to make object visually further away, we should add some deepness, some deep shadows. Then house comes in front. This is another tip. And also what I'm doing sometimes, but not always, on the objects which are closer to us, I'm defining all the details. I'm working on every single detail and make it perfect. But objects which are behind, sometimes I can even make it a bit blurry, because this is how we see them in reality. This is how we see through the camera lens. Usually objects which are closer, then they are more sharper than those which are further, and that also gives thickness to the illustrations. This is also a great way to make your illustration more like 3D, more realistic, when you define objects which are further, which are closer, and also color them accordingly. I realized that I forgot to make reflection here, but don't make too much, because when you will be coloring snow, most probably you will be coloring it blue, because this is how all we do, even though in reality snow is white, but we all make it blue because also it can reflect the sky and it looks nice on the pictures, whatever. But if I will add blue here, it will turn not so pleasantly green. See? It gives not so nice color, and green snow, this is not so much fun. So we have to make sure that just add a little bit of shadow, and we don't overlay, I mean a little bit of yellow light, and we are not overlay it with blue color, because you know that mix of blue and yellow gives green. And that's another tip. Think when you combine in colors, especially if you have layered them on top of each other, what mix do they give? It's not always nice pleasant colors. It's sometimes some mixes can really give terrible combinations. For example, I don't like orange and blue. It gives this dirty color, which orange and blue look nice, and maybe even together they look quite pleasant in some cases, but when they a little bit even mixed together, they give dirt, and that's what I wouldn't do, and that's what I would also keep in mind when coloring. So that's it. That was it for today. A little bit tips. I would not color it now completely because it will take a lot of time with all the explanations. Maybe we can continue later, or we will do another picture another time. I just wanted to show you an example of this small illustration, some tips about coloring, and in general about drawing, about illustration, painting, whatever. So thank you so much for your attention, and I hope it was interesting for you and useful, and see you next time.